Plants have been used in the beauty and fragrance industry for thousands of years, from ancient times up until the present day. This includes flowers such as the Rosa Gallica, the Iris Germanica, Pelargonium graveolens, the Rosa Damascena, Rosa canina, and other highly fragrant plants such as the hyacinth and jasmine. The scent of a plant evokes all kinds of memories and feelings, and all sorts of recipes and methods have been conjured up to capture and preserve these fleeting fragrances. The very word perfume comes from the Latin perfumum, by means of smoke, and in antiquity, perfumes were available in many forms, including scented toilet water, oils, dry powders, unguents, which is an ointment or salve, or as incense. They are applied not only to the body, but also to clothes, bed sheets, walls and floors, especially during banquets. Scent also played an important role in temples and religious ceremonies, when incense was offered up to the gods by priests, and statues of gods were anointed with oil. These perfumed oils were stored in a variety of different shaped and sized containers. This one, with its rounded bottom, long thin flask, narrow neck and lug handles, originated in ancient Egypt and is made of stone. In his treatise concerning odours, the Greek philosopher and scientist Theophrastus wrote about the benefits of using vessels made of alabaster stone, which he described as being cool and of close texture. He said, "Neither do they let the odour pass away through them, nor do they take in anything else, for evaporation destroys the perfume, and so does any foreign substance which finds its way in." The small size of this vessel, which is 12 centimetres, indicates that it was not only for private use, but that its contents were a precious and expensive commodity. The narrow neck helped to control the flow of the oil. This shape continued to be used by the Greeks, but this example is made of clay. It was made in the ancient city of Corinth, which produced and traded scented oils and many small perfume vessels. The oils contained within these flasks would have been scented and infused with spices, herbs, roots, bark, and flowers. Olive oil was most commonly used as the excipient when making perfume, and it was heated with plants such as sedge to make it astringent, and then infused with the popular fragrance of rose, sage, cypress, or iris. Resins such as Arabian myrrh or frankincense were then applied to make the perfume less volatile. A great deal of what we know about perfume and how they were made has come down to us in the writings of the ancient philosophers and botanists. One such flower that attracted their attention was the Iris Germanica, of which we have this beautiful illustration in the exhibition by the entomologist, ecologist and artist George Salt. The Greek botanist and physician Dioscorides wrote of the Iris Germanica in his De Materia Medica that the roots under are knotty, strong, of a sweet savour, and went on to give a lengthy description of the perfume known as Erinum, which involved pouring a mixture of boiled oil, water and beaten palm tops into a vessel smeared with honey, to which was then added the bruised root of the iris. In addition to its use in perfume, Dioscorides also described how it could be used for a whole range of ailments, including crusted ulcers, decaying flesh and filth. He claimed it could help during labour and with hemorrhoids. A cupful would purge the bowels, he said. Dioscorides' Materia Medica was written between 50 and 70 CE, and it had a long life, with people reading it in many languages for the next 1,500 years, until revised herbals were written in the Renaissance. One such publication in the show is Paradisi in Sol Paradisius Terrestris, or A Garden of All Sorts of Pleasant Flowers, which was written by John Parkinson, a 17th century English apothecary, gardener and writer, who prepared and sold plant-based medicines and herbal remedies in London. Many of the plants he used were grown in his own garden on Longacre, near Covent Garden, and the knowledge he gained was through his own observations and experiences. This was published in 1629 and is predominantly about the plants that can be grown in the garden for delight and pleasure. Parkinson speaks about irises, or the flower de luce, and while he does not provide lengthy descriptions of their virtues, he does highlight the iris roots, especially those of the white iris of Florence, depicted here bottom left, which he described as being the sweetest and which could be made into scented powders to perfume apparel or linen. Parkinson also includes the Rosa Damascena in this same publication, a flower that is much celebrated for its numerous petals and intense scent. It is a hybrid of the Rosa gallica and Rosa moscata. Parkinson said that the damask rose has the most excellent, sweet, pleasant scent, far surpassing all other roses or flowers, being neither heady nor too strong, nor stuffing or unpleasant sweet as many other flowers. The watercolour by Boucher, who is an artist unfortunately we know very little about, depicts a type known as the York and Lancaster rose, or Rosa Damascena versicolor. The rose's essential oils were initially used in medicine, but are now vital to the perfume industry. The village of Al Emra in rural Damascus, Syria, is a significant producer of rose oil, known as attar of roses. The roses are picked in May and June in the morning, when their scent is most intense. The petals are then treated and first made into rose water, and from there the essential oils are extracted. It takes 10 to 12 tons of flowers to produce 1 kilo of essential oils, so it is incredibly labour intensive and as a result very expensive. Roses have been used for their fragrance and healing properties since antiquity. The Roman author and naturalist Pliny said of roses, "I am inclined to believe that the scents most widely used are those made from the rose, which grows in abundance everywhere." He was talking about the Rosa gallica, which was one of the first roses to be cultivated in Europe and one of the most highly fragrant. It is known as the Provence rose, after the town of Provence to the southeast of Paris, where it was commercially grown for perfume and medicine. It also goes by the name of apothecary's rose. In the 16th century, the Rosa gallica versicolor appeared and is distinguished by its striped petals. This particular depiction of that rose is by the Dutch artist Peter Withoos, who painted it sometime in the second half of the 17th century. It is painted on vellum, a high-quality support made from calfskin, which was ideal for works of this type because its smooth surface allowed the artist to paint with fine detail. Withoos has faithfully recorded the stripes on the gently curled petals and the insect-damaged leaf, giving the impression this rose was in front of him when he painted it. This illustration of the marshmallow plant and a Papillotroilus butterfly is attributed to the Austrian botanist, physician and pioneering dermatologist Joseph von Plenck, who wrote a number of major medical publications. As a dermatologist, he would have been very familiar with the benefits that plants could bring to people's health and well-being. In his publication Materia Chirurgica, published in 1788, he described the marshmallow plant as emollient and lubricating, having the ability to soften tumours. In another of his illustrations, he shows the Rosa campestris alba with the Rosa canina. The rosehip, which is the fruit of the Rosa canina, is full of vitamins and nutrients and has many medicinal qualities and health benefits. It is called the dog rose because its root in classical times was thought to cure the bite of a mad dog. The natural oil of the seeds nourishes and repairs the skin, helping to reduce scarring and even out skin tone, while also leaving it soft and supple. Essential oil is also distilled from plants such as the Pelargonium graveolens, also known as the rose geranium. Some of the leaves of the different varieties emit a citrus aroma, others mint, but it is the rose-scented flowers that are most in demand. Jasmine is another flower that is hugely important to the perfume industry and has been cultivated in Grasse, France, the world's perfume centre, since the 16th century. It takes 8 million flowers to produce 1 kilogram of oil. This watercolour of jasmine is by the German artist Johann Christoph Beyer, and it stands out in the exhibition for being the only one painted on a black background, which gives the flower a three-dimensional effect. This was a technique he is likely to have learned from the Dietsch family of flower painters, who worked in Nuremberg. Beyer's life partially crossed over with one of the greatest botanical painters working over in Paris, Pierre-Joseph Redoute, and no botanical exhibition is complete without his stunning illustrations. In 1793 he painted the Camellia japonica, which is called tsubaki in Japanese, and grows in the wild in China, Japan, Korea and Taiwan. The oil from the seeds are used for glossing the hair of geisha and sumo wrestlers and is still used today. The flower was brought to Europe as an ornamental in the 18th century and was listed in the Survey of Plants at the Jardin du Roi in Paris in 1774. Redoute worked at the Jardin du Roi from 1786, where he is likely to have seen it. From then onwards, Redoute went from strength to strength and was appointed the official flower painter to the Empress Josephine, wife of Napoleon Bonaparte, in 1805. She asked him to create an inventory of rare plants cultivated at Château de Malmaison, an estate she owned near Paris and on which she spent considerable sums of money, building greenhouses and importing rare plants from all over the world. This was one of these plants, the Helitropium Corimbosum, also known as the Helitropium arborescens, which has an intense vanilla-like fragrance that is used in perfume. It is native to Peru and may have been among the heliotropes brought back from America in 1804 by the geographer, naturalist and explorer Alexander von Humboldt and the respected botanist Aimé Bonpland. It was subsequently grown in the Empress's garden at Château de Malmaison and painted by Redoute for Bonpland's publication entitled Description of Rare Plants Cultivated at Malmaison and at Navarre, in which Bonpland describes the flower as spreading a sweet smell of honey. Popular fragrances obtained from professional perfumiers in the 19th century were those based on heliotrope and lilac. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, it was possible to make synthetic perfumes. Aldehydes were used to recreate floral aromas that could not be naturally captured. The growing demand for perfume also saw a demand for intricate and luxury scent bottles, such as this painted enamel perfume bottle from Staffordshire, with its miniature of a blushing young woman on one side and a posy of flowers on the other. Or this scent bottle, made in Russia by a firm working in the style of Fabergé, the finest Russian jeweller. Although the scent bottle appears to be made from clear glass, it is in fact made from a precious, naturally forming mineral, rock crystal, a clear type of quartz, which is found in Russia. Of course, we don't have to resort to only appreciating these floral smells from scent bottles, but can go out and appreciate the plants in their natural setting. So I wanted to leave you with this highly detailed watercolour of Bluebell Woods by Władysław Mirecki. He is a self-taught artist who depicts the Essex landscape, and trees are essential to his artistic practice. He has said that while he makes his watercolours, he too becomes almost tree-like, still and silent. This wood is suffused with light and carpeted in bluebells. It really captures and evokes the visual spectacle and uplifting aromas of spring. So come along to see this and many other watercolours and objects in the exhibition Scent from Nature, Beauty's Botanical Origins, which runs until the 29th of August. I look forward to seeing you there.